Chewing and smelling on garbage. By the way, my favorite pastime. But yeah.
And much like dip, you should spit the water, right? You don't swallow the garbage water.
How would that work? Would that give you the same kind of like high? Anyways,
Yeah.
sure.
Go ahead.
But how? Anyways, yeah. It would absolutely lacerate your gums a lot more, so there would be things entering your bloodstream for sure. But no, the first thing that, we had here is something that I'm sure we've talked about before in some fashion, in some way, but it always rears its ugly head, right? So go ahead and take it away on how a socialist who flies a private jet even once should slit their wrists. But go ahead.
The greatest sin imaginable. And a democratic
Spending
socialist
money.
girl, please put some respect on that name. Yeah. So this came across sort of my feed on YouTube, and it upset me because Bernie Sanders sat down with Brett Bayer, I think his name is, of Fox News.
We do respect Bernie for going into the Fox News world, though, right? But go ahead.
He does it often. He's done town halls for Fox News the last 2 times he's run for president, which is very commendable. Certainly don't see Joe Biden doing that. Anyway.
That's my socialist. Yeah, go
ahead. Yeah, essentially the title of the YouTube video was, and I'm blanking
and it's
on
a choice.
Now,
the title is a choice in itself, isn't it?
Yes, because it's such a small piece of this interview, and it's right at the end.
I had to go to the end, if you can see, right?
Yes.
Just to freeze the screen on. Yeah.
So obviously this is a little clickbaity on Fox News' part, and it worked.
A little. This man says a little.
But so at the tail end of this interview, Bernie Sanders gets confronted over private jet flights on his Fight Oligarchy tour, as if that was a legitimate means of criticism. I just don't. It's just very frustrating to think that that is a legitimate criticism of him trying to fight oligarchy. Because, like, if you just come at it from a practical aspect, okay, they're doing a lot of they're doing a lot of rallies. They're making a lot of stops, 5 or 6 cities within 1 week, and you're bouncing around sort of the Midwest and the West Coast and the Southeast, because I think they're targeting, quote unquote, like swing states with these rallies.
They went to Idaho. That's crazy. They got some people. Although it's not so
maybe
crazy.
They're targeting chairs. I think they're targeting like specific seats in Congress. But regardless, the only feasible way to move around at that speed is with a private jet, right? A. And B, all of the money that Bernie raises, every single dime is from small dollar donations. He does not use super PACs. He does not solicit corporate donations. And C, you can fly in a private jet and still admonish the oligarchy at the same time, right? Like, that is bananas to me. That one negates the other somehow. But go ahead. I don't know if you want to chime in at all.
I don't even know what to say besides it's like lazy. It's like your lazy counter argument. Although I did not watch this segment because honestly, and nobody listens to us, so whatever. Folks, I don't give a shit. I'm not gonna watch this. I just sped it up and froze it on the pane. Listen, I already know what's gonna be. I'm seeing our boy on here 100 times on like Fox News. So it's I remember when he went to like Bethlehem and did some I don't even remember when that is, but whatever.
PA?
It's just the lazy. It's the super lazy counter argument. I feel like they like feel obligated to put in the counter argument. Like, again, I probably should have watched it, but I feel like they feel obligated to put the counter argument in just because they're like having him on. And I think too, I can't help but think, the only reason Fox News, or maybe it's Bernie who entertained the idea of being on Fox News and accepted it. The only reason it's happening is because Democrats lost in November. It's funny. I was thinking about this when you did share this. In 2020, when he lost the nomination, he supported Biden, right? even though, and think about this, because it happened last November, every time Democrats in their current form lose, he kind of like gains power. Do you agree? So he even backed, yeah, right? So he backed Biden in 2020. And like, I don't know. This is a total tangent, my bad. But I was thinking about this the other day where it's like, he backed someone who, if they lost, his power would have grown. So what does that say about him? What does that say about him now? What does it say about him being in all this stuff for like decades? I feel like it only says good things, but yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I could rip. I mean, it's so easy to understand his surge in popularity post a Democrat loss because how the fuck did you lose to Trump, right? That is a question that all of Democratic leadership needs to ask themselves.
And also, even if your candidate touches milquetoast at all, it's going to be the more non-milquetoast that will feel like they're empowered because like your shit doesn't work. But yeah.
But it's just crazy to me that coming from, and I assume most of the people in this Fox News comment section who's just like, Bernie's a hypocrite. These are all people who are MAGA Trump supporters, I would assume. And Trump's inauguration front row, first two front rows, was full of the...
Oh, they don't care, dog.
Wealthiest billionaires in the United States.
They don't care.
And we're criticizing, and I don't know if you heard the number that they dropped when Brett Bayer's talking to Bernie. He spent, I want to say, I think it was $260,000 on chartering private jets so far for his Fight Oligarchy tour. That is a fucking drop in the bucket to the money that is just big balls swinging between Trump and all of his backers. Like, it's just like crazy to me. And I understand that, it's slanted as a sort of hypocrisy thing, but it's so dumb. Because
Dude, what about the thing that I kind of tossed in there as a thought, which was the whole plane that he's getting gifted from some country today that dropped?
Yeah.
So stupid.
Saudi Arabia.
Man. They don't care. The point is, I'm not going to read it. Who cares? Because you're stitching it in here with the point is like, they don't care about the double standard. It doesn't matter. They're just looking. It's like, oh, we're hosting Bernie. We're probably hosting Bernie because we can feel that he has a little more power, especially post-oligarchy tour, than he would if the Democrats won in November. So we're going to host him. But because we're hosting him, we have to just find that counter-argument. And maybe it says something to the man if your counter-argument is some horse shit that is completely just like, okay, you're worried about this, but there's 100 million things that, like, let's say, quote unquote, your side is doing that you're not worried about. Like, it just speaks to what you care about, and you care about bullshit, So
right, you care about your little moral victories, however you can see them.
Whatever it is that they tell themselves to throw this counter argument in when Trump is accepting a $400 million fucking plane from a country, just like mental gymnastics. But do your thing.
But it's this idea of you have to be an unimpeachable person to stand for anything.
No, it's only
if you're fighting against starvation, but you had a medium-sized lunch, like all of a sudden everything you're saying is meaningless. Like that is not.
It's just because it gets thrown in.
Being hypocrite, is what they're saying. Does it have any merit or not? That is the thing that actually matters.
It's just because these takes that are completely reasonable to objectionable people. I feel like that was too many words, but we're just going to keep going.
Sure.
They just get thrown in these blenders of Fox News or whatever spin just because, like, they have to do that, Like, I could tell you right now, like, children that are in Gaza should not be harmed no matter what's going on. Everybody would agree with that. Except you think they would, and there's actually some people who would actually like somehow be like, I'm upset because I'm pro-Israel. I like,
October
it's just
7th.
like it's just we just get, yeah, but that's but again, the point, dude. You're such a troll. We love you. We absolutely heart you. But you know what I mean? Like it's like children, and like if we actually talked about children in any given place, you would say like, they should be safe. Like that's not a controversial. But my point is like these things get thrown into a fucking spin blender just because like Bernie gets thrown into the right wing spin blender. They're gonna be like, dude, what do we have to make him look like an idiot. It's like, I got it. Let's do the
It's,
same tired 150 things that right-wing outlets, when they host him, have done 150 times before, which is, oh, man, he takes some planes. He took some planes. That's terrible of him. I don't know, dude. I don't know.
Yeah, and, I take solace in the fact that most of MAGA would probably agree with a lot of the sentiment Bernie's talking about in this interview, just as far as, like,
if you take
there's way too much
names
big money involved.
yeah.
Politics is
Right.
corrupt,
Yeah.
But it's just crazy to me that sells with some people. And I think, too, there's a bit of recognition that the idea has merit and it is legitimate, but instead of addressing what he's saying, you pick apart the smallest fucking thing you can so that we don't actually have to have the conversation.
100%.
Let's talk about his private jet flights. Instead of, there is a legitimate oligarchy in this country.
You don't challenge, like, any sort of merits and, like, refute any sort of, like...
Right. Just, if his shit stinks at all, then we get to dismiss everything he's saying. Like, what are we talking about?
I had a couple comments here, too. One of them is
Bernie
Sanders' net worth is $1.7 million. 50 years working the same job and same job is, but you know what he means. And multiple best-selling books. Also releases his tax information every year. Wouldn't that be great? If all politicians release their tax information for people that hire him to see? Yeah, man. Like,
that is one of the few supporting
the greatest fucking coup that Trump ever won was winning over the anti-establishment sentiment in this day and age, which is the most prevalent one. But like being a scumbag and not actually being
as establishment as it gets.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Like, when people say that, I hear people say that, like, certain people that I'll watch say that, and I grade at that a little bit because, like, I don't think that that's the right wording to actually reach someone who still believes he's anti-establishment. You have to say, like, he's just he's just corrupt. I don't know.
He's part of the same system that they're all part of.
No, I know. It's not wrong. It's not wrong. I just don't know.
Trump truly was an outsider in 2016, but the second he got in, for him, his only goal was to join the corrupt elite class, not to fucking take them down.
I know.
He wanted to be part of the fucking club. When you see him getting roasted by Barack Obama at his 2014 White House Correspondents' Dinner or whatever the fuck that was, and you see Trump just stewing, sitting in his seat there.
Yeah, I've seen that
to me,
times.
That's all that it stems from. There was this big elite club.
All that it's, I don't know about all, but yeah, I hear you. Because he ran for president in 2000, once upon a time, whatever, Reform Party, I don't know. All right, the next comment is, this comment section is so sad. Is clearly pointing out how big money is politics is the course of America. Oh, this is tough English, but
it's a tough comment. Could be English the second
people
language.
only want to point out that he has money. He wants to be taxed more too. There's no, I mean, this person is basically saying, like,
But it's what I'm saying essentially.
Yeah.
This guy is more succinct about it as well. It's
almost like what this person is saying is like we should all be on the same page, but we're not, and this country is like kind of fucked because of it. It's like you can get a whole bunch of different factions of anti-establishment, and it's not going to be something that unites in a way that could make it a powerful force. It's like, yeah, that's true.
There is a good, legitimate force behind being anti-establishment in this country. Trump is not your guy, if that's truly your position. He's just not. I think Rand Paul would do a better job of being anti-establishment than Donald Trump. You know what I mean?
I agree.
But
Rand
anyways,
Paul
that's a beside.
Still terrible, but there are levels to terrible, and he wouldn't be as terrible of a level, I think. So I think that's correct.
But it's just like, I don't know. I just don't know how Trump can maintain his hold on this crowd that he just does not give a fuck about.
Yeah, I don't know.
But yeah. So I don't know. I just I watched this video. Got very frustrated. Read the comments. Got even more frustrated.
Bernie should figure it out, and he should not spend money. He should, like that fucking scene in, what am I thinking of? The Da Vinci Code. No, the Da Vinci Code, where the guy's like on his knees in front of a cross in his room, and he's whipping his back. Bernie should be like paying penance, just
Wow, you went straight for this.
We hope he does.
I was going to say Bernie needs to rectify this and to align himself with his eco-friendly positions. Bernie should walk from town to town that he's doing a rally in. He should just hoof it.
There you go.
You know what I mean?
People
But
also
you
say
just
that's
went
good.
straight to.
Did you know people also said that's good exercise? So there you go. So there's a lot of
There
benefits
you
there.
go. That's
And,
cardio, baby. And he's old.
there
I'm
you
sure
go.
that'd be good for him.
That's cardio, baby.
That's cardio. There was one comment real quick that I have
go
such
ahead.
a
Yeah.
bone to pick with. So during RFK Jr.'s hearing for, whether or not he's
Boy, I didn't watch
sufficient
that,
for his role,
Yeah.
I watched bits and pieces, but he had an exchange with Bernie that just fucking grinded my gears, where RFK just comes out. I don't remember specifically the interaction, but RFK's like, well, you took such and such $1 million from the pharmaceutical companies.
Oh, boy. Wait. RFK says that to Bernie?
To Bernie Sanders.
What?
Right?
Go
So
ahead.
immediately my this shit stinks meter just goes off the charts. And as it comes out, what he was saying, because when you make a political donation, I guess you have to, which last time I made a political donation to Bernie was a long time ago. That's the only person I've ever donated to. But you have to.
I'm pretty sure for full clarity, I have done that recently. Go ahead.
Sure. But you have to write down certain information, right? Who do you work for? Blah, blah, blah. Because you're capped at a certain contribution as an individual. So these were people who worked for pharmaceutical companies that had made individual contributions to Bernie's campaign.
Oh, boy. I don't know if that's the same.
As this is the money you get from corporate pharmaceutical America, which is very much not the same fucking thing. Right? And like Bernie's whole thing is he doesn't take corporate money. He doesn't have super PACs. He doesn't have like none of that shit.
1.5 million. 1.7 million? Whatever he's worth. It's probably a couple houses and whatever. But
sure, but I've watched this rumor spread through right-wing comment sections, and it grinds my fucking gears because it's just so fucking misleading. From somebody who, like, whether or not you like his ideas, he is a legitimate dude who doesn't take big money. Like, and he's been consistent about his message for decades. Like, why?
Yeah, I appreciate that across the way, too.
Me.
There's still some people out in media out there who kind of build their own independent voice and don't ever take money. Appreciate in the same way those people too. I don't know. I'm thinking of that. But
sure.
Yeah. That's always like a good thing. It's always or not even a good thing necessarily, but it means like you're getting a more unfiltered view, right? So.
Yeah, I agree. But just the fact that that's like Bernie's whole MO,
we love you,
especially
Bernie.
since Citizens United, and the fact that rumor really grew legs and just like carries such weight, apparently, just fucking kills me. But we can move on.